Howdy folks, it's Tall Turtle here and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. And yes, we're starting on the Runway, but it's for the last time because this is the last of the Jack of all planes achievement flights, and it's the biggie, it's the big one. And why might I say it's the big one when it's the smallest and slowest plane? Because it's the smallest and slowest plane. The simulator predicts that this flight will take over 5 hours to fly 300 miles. Hopefully it doesn't take quite that long, and hopefully the achievement will pop somewhere in flight so we can just land wherever we are. But 5 hours. This is the big one. I saved it for last, and we're flying over Minnesota. The reason for that is because I will know where we are, and it will keep me interested. Because I can say, hey, there's that place, there's this place, I know where that is, I know where this is, and it'll just keep my mind going. Because there's no autopilot, I have to hand fly this thing. The AI co-pilot is broken. It's a known issue. It's been broken for a couple months, so I can't use that. I can try to force autopilot through keyboard commands, but I don't expect that to work either. So here we go. Am I going to do this in one sitting? No. It's probably going to be, I'm probably going to have to pause the sim and let it sit overnight a couple times and then splice it all together, which means the day-night thing might get messed up because time keeps running when you save it or when you pause it. I could save the file and reload it, but I'm scared of that screwing up the achievement, so I'm not going to do that. Otherwise, what else? Weather's turned off just because that's another variable I don't want to deal with. There are clouds. I do have to worry about icing because of the temperature though, so we have to avoid clouds and stay low enough that we're below them. That's something else to consider. This is not an easy achievement, folks. This Jack of all planes. Way back when you first got the simulator, you could just start the thing, have the AI co-pilot fly the whole thing, and you get the achievement after you've done it for each plane. If you don't know, the Jack of all planes achievement is you have to fly each plane from the standard edition of the simulator 300 miles or more. That's 20 planes, by the way, 20. So you used to be able to do that in the beginning. People who first got the sim, they just put on AI co-pilot, ran each plane, boom, they got the achievement. But it doesn't work that way right now because AI co-pilot is broken. So I am hand flying these past 6 flights because they didn't have autopilot. It's exhausting, but I'm doing it. I love it, but it's definitely the most difficult achievement. I know there's a $1,000 one, but you just get that over time. So that being said, once we finish this achievement, that means we have done all of the achievements that we can control. We've done them all. The few that are left are like you just over time, and we will talk about that at the end of this video. I will go through the achievement list and you'll see I've done them all except the ones I have no control over. And I'll explain my criteria for no control over it and how I'm saying I've done all the achievements at the end of this video. So stay tuned for that. 5 hours of flying, I probably won't have a very long video, just be some sightseeing here and there. I might do some narration and commentary for story time. Okay, so yeah, the video is going to be kind of long. This will probably be a long video because I'm going to do story time where I can, when I can. I've lived in Minnesota my whole life except for 1 year, so I have lots of stories to tell. So anyway, long introduction, but that's because this is a big deal. This is a long time coming for me to get this achievement. I recorded some of the videos, not all of them, but I'm excited to get this done because then we can, first of all, have a sense of accomplishment, and also because then we'll do the full immersion where we do the full startup, the IFR stuff, all the ATC stuff, all that, blah, blah, blah. But because I want this takeoff to count, we're starting at the end of the runway. Okay, so before we take off here, we do have, I thought, oh, let's turn the heat up. Oh, I thought this was movable. Well, I thought we had lights in here somewhere because we got the sun behind us. Is it this one? Yeah, there we go. Let's turn them up a little bit. No, that's not the one I wanted. I thought we had, there it is. There we go. That's down and that is up all the way. Okay, good. All right. If you want to know where in the world we are, there's Lake of the Woods. There's Upper Red Lake, Lower Red Lake. Here's the Canadian border. So this runway that we're on, halfway in Canada, halfway in Minnesota. We are facing this. We're actually going to take off, touch Canada on the ground, come back right away. I used to go camping in here. Here's Highway 10 and 37. There's 371. There's Highway 10. There's Staples and Motley. There's 94, 169, 65, 35W, or 35 becomes 35W and E. We're not going to probably see Minneapolis International from the air. The Iowa border is like right here because 90 runs right above the Iowa border. So Iowa's right there. Minneapolis, obviously St. Cloud right here. We'll go over St. Cloud. I don't know if we'll be able to recognize it from where we are, but we'll see it. And we'll see some other stuff. So I'll point out things if I feel like narrating. I don't want the video to get too long, but there's Roseau. If I remember, I do have a Faribault story related to, see there's a Canadian border, boom, right there. A Faribault story relating to jury duty I was on, if I remember. We'll see what I remember. Alrighty, enough chit chat. Let's just get going here. 5 hours. This is crazy. We do have a set of flaps down. Parking brake is off. And let's get some air, some speed here. Come on. We just gotta stay below the clouds if we can because of icing, because it is cold right now. And boom, we're now in Canada. And up we go. There we go. Gear. There is gear. And flaps are coming in. Just have to remember to put gear down. Have to remember to put gear down before we land. Because we're not going to land on water. I'll tell you what. If the achievement pops, if the 100 or the Jack of all planes achievement pops while we fly, we'll land in water. Because then we know we don't have to worry about the landing counting, right? Because we're gonna, because it would have popped. So that's what we'll do, if I remember anyway. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna turn around, go back into the United States, back into Minnesota here. See this line? This is basically literally the line of Canada and the United States. Like literally. It's like a trench that's dug out. I'm not kidding. So here we go. We are going back into Minnesota, United States, right about now. There's the trench. All right, here we go. So let's see. Let's regain control. It is sunrise-ish. The days are so short in Minnesota right now that it'll probably be sunrise to sunset almost. I love this plane. It's my favorite aircraft, but it is the slowest, which is why it's going to take 5 hours. Shouldn't be too hard to trim out though. Let's just get back on track here and then we'll look around for a moment. Alright, so clouds are about 2,800 to 3,000 feet, so as long as we stay below 3,000 feet we should be okay. Because like I said, it's cold enough it would be instant icing, I would think. So I'm still trimming this down. Our altitude is exactly 2,800 feet, so let's not go much higher if we can help it. What else can we do while we're setting up this flight? We can turn off these lights now. If I can find the click spot. There you go. Our gauge is still lit up or not? I can't really tell if they're lit up or not. Sure seems like it. Not all these little things are working though, because the one in the Cessna 152, for example, didn't work. So, I don't know, these don't seem lit up to me. They used to work. I've used them before, but whatever. Alrighty, let's see here. Let's try to force autopilot. What happens if we do autopilot on and force nav? Is it going to do anything? No. Nothing. I didn't expect it to. I just thought it was worth a try. Okay. Because you see there's nothing to tie to over here, right? There's nothing to set it to except the FMS. Alright, we're just going to follow this forever and ever. Like I said, if the achievement pops on the way, we'll find water to land on. Otherwise, lots of... Yeah, this is going to be a long video, because I want to do lots of story time, because this is my hometown, man. I want to talk about it. Plus, it's going to be lonely. There's only so much YouTube I can watch in 5 hours. Alrighty, so let's see here. There's no attitude indicator or anything. The only thing we got is our AOA, our speed, our altitude, which we're still climbing. Fortunately, we haven't hit any clouds yet. Fortunately. That's good. All right. Let's see. Anything we can screw with here? No, we know how this works. We used it in the, what is it, the CTSL or CSTL thing that I hate so much. So we know how this works. Nothing crazy here. We can do this though. Whoa. There we go. If we want to get a horizon and a compass and everything, we can use this. That is helpful. Shows you your FMS too. Great GPS. But let's keep trimming down. Because I don't want to go this high because of the clouds. We're at 4,000 feet, man. Let's hit barometer. Yeah, we're at 4,000 feet for realsies. Okay, we're not hitting any clouds though. Good. Alright, what can we say? What can we do here? Well, there's Lake of the Woods. I said Lake of the Isles earlier. I meant Lake of the Woods. Lake of the Isles is the Minnesota town which you have to go through Canada to get to, and customs there's on your honor. It used to be. I don't know if it still is. You'd fill out a thing and put it in a box. Maybe the staff now, but anyway, Lake of the Woods right there, which means War Road is there. Roseau, I don't think we can see Roseau from here. It's too tiny of a town. It would be like up here with the sun glare and such a small town. Oh yeah, you can see it right there. There's Roseau, the town of Roseau. The river goes through it, curves through it, and then War Road is over there. Marvin Windows is here. Polaris. Well, the fact headquarters isn't here anymore. People, my relatives from Roseau still think the Polaris headquarters is here. No, it isn't. The factory is here. The headquarters is down in the suburb of Minneapolis. It's been that way for a really long time, actually, but, you know, people are tough with change. We'll see Upper and Lower Red Lake. What else are we going to see? A whole bunch of stuff. So, oh yeah, see, now we're getting close to the clouds. Alrighty, good. We're at 94 knots, so maybe only take 4.5 hours instead of 5. Anyway, this thing is so easy to fly. I'm hand flying, but I barely need to touch anything. So much easier than those other aircraft. Some of those other aircraft are a disaster. Alrighty, I trimmed down a little bit. I trimmed nose down so we can get a little bit lower. Even though you trim for speed, not altitude, but it kind of works hand in hand. Otherwise, let's look outside together a moment here. There's the main road going to Roseau. Right there. There's Roseau right above the wing. The right wing. All the way over there to Thief River Falls and North Dakota. And Canada's behind us. You can still see Canada. Winnipeg is up there, you know. And, oh, this is so cool to see satellite. Oh, I'm so excited about this flight. So excited. Let's see. Spent lots of time in Roseau because my wife's father's side is from there. So we've been in Roseau a lot. Been there for lots of weddings, lots of funerals, lots of visiting. Anything else? I've talked about Roseau, my Roseau flights. You can just search those on the channel if you're from the area. I do know I have some fans from this area. Some of my very first subscribers were from this area because I posted a flight from Roseau to War Road in the Beaver, I think. And people liked it. And my first subscribers were from that era. Anyway, lots of time in Roseau, Minnesota. Oh, there it is right there. There you go. Their one stoplight is right there. Then you go to the Canadian border there. We crossed into Canada there once. I'm trying to do a Minnesota accent for this video. I'm not good at it. We crossed into Canada there once when I had Ohio plates. The 1 year we lived in Ohio, and they were like, "What are you doing crossing here? There's no nowhere." And we gave the family name. They're like, "Oh, we know who you are," and they let us in. See how that works. Everybody knows everybody. Good or bad, everybody knows everybody. But that is a really cool shot. For me, this means a lot because there's Roseau, and then you can see all the way to War Road. This means a lot to me. There is an amazing rush hour here for all the people who work at the Polaris factory. Here's the Polaris factory right here. When everybody gets off at the same time for their shift change, a lot of them live in War Road, so they all drive, and there's a rush hour traffic jam, like shock waves traffic jam, going all the way into town for like 25 minutes. It's hilarious. So anyway, I could go on and on. I hope I remember to put a rambling warning in the beginning of this video. And, whoops, we're losing track of our airplane. But that's how we operate on the Tall Turtle channel. Come for the flying, stay for the stories, or come for the stories, stay for the flying. I don't know. But I'm going to be quiet for a little bit now, because there's not much between Roseau and the next place of interest for me. Ooh, let's not ice up, please. Oh gosh, don't ice up. Don't ice up. I'm going to find a good cruising altitude and get some sightseeing in for you, and I'll see you in a little bit. Wow, we're just getting started, and that could have been a whole video. See you in a little bit. Time for a mid-flight update here. Upper Red Lake and Lower Red Lake, eating reservations all around it. We actually had a subscriber request a long time ago, years ago, to fly over the lakes. We did a VFR flight between these lakes, and it was really fun to do. Really enjoyed it. And then Highway 89 is going to come out down the middle, which you can't really make out from here, but Highway 89 goes down there. The next point of interest, well, I was doing too much sightseeing. I kind of lost what we were doing here. I've actually been using this 3D vision to fly. I've been doing a lot of flying like this. You might have been recording it. I've been doing a lot like this to keep our speed, altitude on track with our GPS path and the correct heading and everything and attitude. So I really love this 3D vision. Let's just go like that until we get back on. There we go. Like I said, I've been using that a lot. So then once this purple triangle gets in the middle, I'll go back to our heading there. And that'll keep us on track. So I'm hanging around 4,000, 4,100 feet just to stay out of the clouds. Our speed is about 100, 101 knots. We're firewalled because you don't have to worry about engine stuff in this. We're in the yellow anyway, not the red. Fuel is doing very well. So on this track, I think the next area, we're almost there, will be Bemidji. I think we're going to hit Bemidji, aren't we? Yeah, see the IDJ. That's Bemidji. And we've talked about Bemidji before because see this little triangle thing? Lake Itasca, right? We, well, I got kids making? No, I can't. No, I'm just being my imagination. There's Lake Itasca, the start of the Mississippi. It runs here through the river valley, hits Lake Bemidji, and then flows south. So we did a video just on that in this simulator, so you can look that up if you want to. Well, as we're gonna we'll be able to see the lake. We might make out the city from here. We probably won't see Lake Itasca from here, but just keep an eye out for that. And then the next big lake that you see over here is Cass Lake. This big one is where is it? Can't remember. That's not Leech Lake. Hang on, I'm doing too many things at once. Hang on. I'm doing too many things at once here. Let's get back on task or track here, and then I'll talk about the lakes. Good grief. Alright, where were we? Lake Bemidji is there, and then this big, huge one to the west is... I've never been able to get this right, but the Mississippi River goes through here. So the Mississippi comes up through here, goes out through here, and then down. It is Lake Winnebago-Gishish. I've never been able to say it. Just with something, you can't say everything, right? And then we have Leech Lake here. And we were on a... Where are we? I'm like, that's not us. We're on a family... Whoa. We're on a family trip. Oh gosh, right out here. We actually flew over it in the sim not too long ago. Too many things going on at once. Let's go out a little bit. There we go. So anyway, we're coming up Bemidji pretty soon. And that'll be my next thing when I ramble. I didn't have that much to say about Upper and Lower Red Lake, other than there they were. Whoops, I dropped my phone, i.e. my map that I'm looking at right now. So anyway, there you go. Enough rambling. Very awkward. That didn't go as planned, but whatever. We'll look at the lake on our exit, and I'll see you in Bemidji. So this is as close as we're going to get to Bemidji, but it's close enough. There's the lake, obviously. You can drive around it. And there's the airport, and then there is the city, and downtown is right there. I actually stayed in a hotel out here once. I can't remember why, but I stayed in a hotel out here by the airport. Then US 2 goes through all the way to Michigan, through Wisconsin, and then to Michigan, all the way through the Upper Peninsula. And then westly, US 2 goes all the way to the coast, probably. Not actually sure on that. I can't remember, but that is the same US 2 going all the way through here. So as far as this area goes, let's first check our vision here. We're getting off course. My mom's family is from here. Is that a little GA plane taking off from the airport? It must be. Anyway, my mom's area, my mother's area is here. My grandmother grew up on this lake. And I never visited anybody here because by then everybody had moved down to the cities. Except my great-grandmother lived here, but we never made it this far. Actually, wait, one time I did. I did come up here to see my mom's cousins once before they did their big move to Colorado. I do remember that. And there was a... Gosh, it was like a cabin house type thing. I don't remember where it was. It was here, and then he went up through here somewhere, I think. Anyway, so I don't know that much about the area, other than it leads you, you can get to the headwaters from there coming from the north. Like Itasca's right here, so we can kind of see from the air. That's awesome. Mississippi River comes up through here, and because it starts over there, and out through here, and out back down again. Try not to talk too much. Don't have much more to say about this area. up ahead we'll have Cass Lake and Leech Lake. I already gave a long story in a previous video about the most recent huge family cabin trip with my wife's family when we all go every year, every other year. There's 11 of us or 13 of us. So we usually stay in like one cabin or one hotel suite. It's a lot of people. And every time we say never again, and then we end up doing it again. But I told my wife, I won't go again unless we're in a different place and my kids are running around upstairs. Why? I don't know. It's like a weekend afternoon or something, but I told my wife, I'll only go again if we have our own cabin, our own hotel room. It's too much. It's too much. More and more people having kids, people get crabby at each other, and it's just not enjoyable. Yucky. I talked all about that in a previous video. You can search it out if you care. Otherwise, that's it for this area. I won't be talking for a long time now. We'll go by some famous lakes like Cass Lake and Leech Lake, and there's Lake Bemidji. But otherwise, just sightseeing and no talking. And I'll see you in probably another hour and a half or so, my time. I am enjoying flying with 3D vision so much, probably because this is what Flight Simulator used to look like. This is what you had, and then you had to fly like this and land. This is what it was like back in the day. Maybe that's why I like it so much, or maybe because that's my six-pack, or part of my six-pack, because I'm missing things like an attitude over here. Anyway, coming up on Gull Lake and Municipal, Brainerd Municipal, so this is Gull Lake here. And this was in here. Brainerd is in here. And I spent a lot of my life, well, blips of my life here and there. My dad's best friend had a resort on Gull Lake. Let me see if I can point out where it was. Oh my gosh, I think it was right in here, maybe. Anyway, 371 goes through here. And my dad's best friend lived there, had a resort. So there's a restaurant. They lived above the restaurant. Then they had like 20 cabins or something with lake access and things like that. It was a big resort for families as well as fisher people to have a home base. And my dad met his best friend when they lived in Minneapolis, and they ran a street gang. They literally legit ran a street gang in South Minneapolis. And my dad said to his grave he would never tell me even half of what he did in his street gang. I am not joking. It is for real. It started out as drag racing, as GTO, and some other thing down the street, down Lake Street, and that then turned into a street gang. And he never went to jail, but he got off on technicalities many times. And he was nice to his family, but he was a bad dude until he met my mom, and then completely changed his ways. But his best friend had a resort up here after that era of the street gang stuff. And his best friend died for things he did that weren't good. And I was actually supposed to be named after him, but my mom hated him so much that my mom said we are not naming our son after this guy. So instead, his name became my middle name. And they were scrambling for the birth certificate to pick my name. My dad said he heard me say my name, and that's how my name was chosen. My mom was like, fine, as long as he has the spelling of Mr. O'Connery, because my mom had a huge crush on Sean O'Connery. And that's how my name came to be, because of the dude who lived right there. Or maybe it was there, somewhere along there. But anyway, we visited here every now and then. Mainly it would just be my dad and me, because my mom didn't like the family. They were very, let's just say the 9 and 10-year-olds had done things that adults barely even do and stuff like that. And I never left my dad's side. It was very not my lifestyle. My dad knew it, but because of that, though, and spending so much time with them, I was able to survive in some rougher areas as a late teen, early 20-something, which I'm not going to get into. But so I have the experience of visiting these people, and I'm sorry I'm being vague. Although you can fill in the gaps. Anybody who will have experience can fill in the gaps of what I'm talking about. So anyway, I spent a lot of time there. We called it Brainerd. I later found out it was Nisswa. I was so mad at my parents for calling it Brainerd when it was actually Nisswa this whole time. So my wife has some ties to Nisswa. My wife, people in her family, I won't get too specific because then it's Googleable, but they play a very specific instrument, and they are like the top of the area of that instrument, and they do festivals in Nisswa every year. Well, not during the COVID year, but they do festivals up here every year. And interesting stories from there when they do these very rustic festivals, and the accommodations for the musicians are incredibly rustic, and even for me they're strange. Alright, not much bothers me. I don't think much is strange. I'm a strange person. I'm the weirdest of everybody I know. But they do some festivals with some very strange things going on during those festivals in Nisswa. So my wife and I both have ties to Nisswa in that regard. The huge Paul Bunyan statue in Blue Ox in Bemidji. There used to be another huge Paul Bunyan statue in Nisswa in like a mall parking lot, and there's used to be like I think it's right here. There used to be like a carnival in the parking lot of this mall, which I don't think still exists, but it did. And you drive by, and that's how we knew we were almost there at my dad's friend's, because we saw the big big Paul Bunyan, or was it the Blue? I can't remember. It was too long ago, but it was in the parking lot with this carnival. Very strange. So anyway, that is Gull Lake. Gull Lake is extremely popular and famous here in Minnesota. Everybody's been to Gull Lake at least once. More people have been to Mille Lacs, which you can see over there on the horizon, which is so huge you can't see across it. So you can see Mille Lacs coming in over there. We're not going to go near there, but I'll show you quickly on the map where it is. See this right here? We can see that all the way from. In fact, we can see across it. Look at, we're high enough up we can see across it. Man, I'll say this looks real, but that's because it is, right? If it weren't for the cartoonish colors in the airplane, I could pass this off as a real life video and people would have no reason to doubt me. Crazy. Alrighty, we're actually flying pretty straight given that we're messing around here. So Mille Lacs Lake, I wanted to point that out. Okay, I have a Mille Lacs story too. Why not? Our video is going to be super long as it is. Everybody who comes back knows I talk a lot. It actually draws people in. A few people have unsubscribed because of it, but whatever. Not my loss. It's theirs because my stories are so awesome, right? Mille Lacs. I had only been, well, first of all, my rock and roll cousins. I have, if you're into the 90s grunge scene, you would know my cousins. They were world touring, or United States and Europe touring musicians. They could hardly go places and not be recognized and bothered. I got to play some guitars that they own that were on some super famous records. Won't get into that. I don't want to be the name dropping type, but let's just say I played some guitars that were in some like super famous 90s records, not even grunge, but I won't. That's all. Anyway, they shot a music video on Lake Mille Lacs, and it was a hit. In fact, I'm not going to name drop. One of the people who did the video is everybody watching would know who they are, and they did a video on Lake Mille Lacs because my cousin was in one of their side projects. So anyway, that's kind of cool. Only I'd never been there except one time. I went to a wedding with my ex-wife, who I don't talk about much because those are some very dark and scary years. My ex-wife, she had two best friends, and one of them was going to a former classmate's wedding. I guess that was back where in this area, you marry your high school sweetheart at kids at 19. This is how you did it, right? You didn't go to college unless you were crazy. So we ran with those types of people. So they're all having kids at 18, whatever, and married at 19, whatever. And we went to a wedding. It was on Lake Mille Lacs. And we all crammed into this tiny Buick SUV. And there's a newborn with us. And we tried sharing hotel rooms, but it was too chaotic. So then we kind of split up hotel rooms. And yeah, it was a dark moment because one of my wife's best friends was heavily flirting with me, which they all kind of flirt. It was the type of thing where y'all just kind of flirted with each other. That's just the lifestyle. But apparently the one friend took it too far, which whatever. And that led to a scary car ride home. And then I left her a couple months later. Yeah, I won't get into that. Wow, the scenery, the imagery here is like, I swear the Midwest has the best imagery in the whole country. I'm not kidding. Every time I come back here's amazing. So anyway, there's some story time about Mille Lacs and Gull Lake. And let me see what is next that we're going to talk about here. Let's see. Well, there's St. Cloud already. I wanted to talk about that's Alexandria. I have Alexandria stories. I'm not going to talk about them because we're not going over there. I have some stories about this area right here that we're actually passing right now. I grew up camping here almost every weekend of my life. So anyway, we are going to fly along, probably hear my voice again when we get to St. Cloud. Tons to say about St. Cloud, but I won't say too much because it'll get boring. Yes, that's the Mississippi River we've been following for a long time. And there you go. All right, a couple more minutes of sightseeing for you, about 45 minutes of flying for me, and then I'll see you in St. Cloud. Jump in here and give a shout out to a few small towns. There's Little Falls, Royalton, and Rice. There's Little Falls back there with Airport. And then Royalton and Rice, all along the river there. Highway 10 goes through here. You can see it. And those areas are famous for little tourist traps like Treasure Island, or Treasure City they call it. Yeah, Treasure City. Bunch of junk you can buy. Royalton has a stoplight, and I remember I met this girl in college, well, woman in college, I guess, and she's like, yeah, I'm from a little town called Royalton. I'm like, oh, the city with a stoplight on the way up north. She's like, yeah, I live 3 houses from the stoplight. Teeny tiny stuff. I forgot to point out, further north with all those lakes and things, it's all resort and hunting country. This is not. This is, some people live on lakes, but this is just basically rural living, farms or tiny towns, and you drive into St. Cloud or even the cities. Minneapolis, St. Paul to work, even though it's a long drive from here. But otherwise, that's where we are. So we're not a resort area. I mean, there may be a resort I don't know of, but the resort area is back there by Gull Lake and north. And this enormous resort area in north resort areas, and then north of Bemidji, it's hunting areas. This is just rural living. Farm living, or your parents just never left the town and you want to leave the town once you go to college, that type of thing. Otherwise, that's where we are. Just wanted to shout out to those cities in case anybody from those 3 cities is watching. That'd be crazy with such few viewers that somebody from Rice, Royalton, or Little Falls is watching. But hey, if you are, there are your cities from the sky. There's the Mississippi River, there's Highway 10, US 10, and there are the 3 cities. There you go. Anyway, don't mean to interrupt. Next stop, St. Cloud. It's right there where you can't see because the sun is sitting a glare on the water. We are about to enter the St. Cloud area, and I'm actually coming down in altitude because I want to see St. Cloud up close, and we kind of diverted from our path. We're going along US 10. We're going to St. Cloud. This is your connection over to I-94. We're going to come down here because right in here, let's see, where's the turn? Right in here is the State Corrections Facility, the maximum security prison. And I want to see what it looks like from the air because you drive by it all the time. When we go camping, we'd be like, hey, we're halfway to camping, although we weren't. We're like a third of the way. But again, my parents told me we were halfway. So I just kind of want to see from the air, just because I've driven by the tall castle-like walls so many times. So there is the road that goes over to 94. I think it's 23. I'm actually not sure. I just know that I used to take it sometimes. Anyway, this is Highway 10 coming through here, and then the prison is right up here. So we're going to follow Highway 10, have a look at the prison. A few stories from the area, since this is the biggest Storytime episode ever. Well, I remember one time I was riding with my aunt to go camping. Again, we'd camp like every weekend when I was a kid in the summer. And we were in her little car, and it broke down, and we're stuck in the left lane, and everyone was honking at us because it broke down in the left lane. And some burly biker dude pulled over and pushed the car himself to safety and hooked it up to his car, towed it to a garage on the other side of the highway, and knew the guy at the garage and helped us get it fixed immediately and on our way within like an hour. During that hour, we went across to a restaurant to use the bathroom. You can't use the bathroom unless you buy something, so we bought a 90-cent soda. Never drank it, just bought it. Use the bathroom. There's a family restaurant. I don't know why they're so strict about it, but whatever. 2 little kids and a woman stranded, but whatever. I better be careful here. I'm going to miss this prison. Otherwise, over there, Sartell. And I have a Sartell story as well. When I was first on the internet, we're talking mid-90s or something, I was chatting with this girl. I don't even know how I was able to chat back then. I was chatting with this girl, and she was from Sartell. So when I came home from college that weekend, my friend and I, well, first of all, I showed my friend her picture, and his eyes like got huge and his jaw dropped, because she was incredibly attractive. And we're like, let's go meet her. I'm like, okay. I didn't expect it to even be a real female. But we drove to Sartell, and sure enough, we get there, and yeah, she was for real, and we met her. And it was funny because we were 18 or 19, and we get there, and her parents were really introverted. So what happens when we get there? She says, "Oh, go hang out in her room. Go hang out in her room." And we're like, two 18-year-old dudes with this amazingly attractive woman, girl, whatever at the time, and you want us to hang out in her bedroom with her. Okay. So we hung out with her. Of course, nothing happened. The three of us are such goody goodies. Nothing happened. But my friend was so like awestruck with how attractive she was that he didn't speak for like the 3 hours we were there. He didn't speak a word, and she pretty much didn't either. So I did all the talking, and then I had a piano, so I played piano for her and her parents, and then left, and she blocked me on the chat on the chat thing that we were on. Oh no, she sent me a message. Okay, it was like a 3 or 4 hour drive back to college. She sent me a message, and I didn't answer within like an hour. So she said, "Fine, forget you," and she blocked me. Even though I was driving a car, like I had a 3 hour drive or something. So anyway, kind of interesting there. All right, there's Highway 10. I don't see the prison yet. I see Rice St. Cloud High School though, and the river. Yeah, let's see if we can find the prison. It's up here a ways actually. Oh, there it is, I think. Yeah, I think that's it right here. Can we move forward like this? Yeah, there we go. Would that be the prison? I think. See, from the air, it's hard to tell. There are the train tracks, and I used to get so excited. You know, there were no phones, no screens back then, and there were only so many word searches you could do as a kid in a car ride every weekend. 2 hours one way, 3 hours one way each weekend. Yeah, that's the prison right there. I did not realize it was on a hill. But, that's not the prison. Yes, it is. There just aren't walls around it? Yeah, that's the prison. They just don't have the walls. The autogen isn't picking up the walls. But it's like castle walls and these towers and everything. And yes, my dad spent time there. Yep. Let's just say my dad's history scared me straight when I was born. Let's just say that. So anyway, let's fly down Highway 10 for a minute here. What was I saying before we found the prison? Can't remember, but oh yeah, I would watch trains in the car because there's nothing to do. You can only do so many word searches and activities and do the alphabet game so many times. So I'll just watch trains. And then one time when I was older, I was actually driving northbound, and I saw this headlight in front of me, and I thought it was a motorcycle on the wrong side of the highway. It was actually a train engine because of the perspective. You couldn't tell. But anyway, there's St. Cloud Storytime. There you go, looking back on it, and that's a really cool view. Of course, I'm sure none of the stuff I'm saying really means anything to anybody, but thank you for watching anyway. I appreciate it greatly. It's fun, and I enjoy other people. In fact, during the making of this video, because it's such a long flight, I'm watching Ellie on YouTube, and she does Flight Simulator and Truck Simulator, and just talks about her life as a trucker, and she flies where she lives and talks about the highways and her experiences, and I love it. So I know I'm not the only one. I know there's others out there. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the tidbits so far. We have a lot more to come, especially when we get closer to the city. I think I'm actually going to just follow Highway 10 in. It'll crisscross. Oh yeah, it's going to crisscross in a minute here. Well, do I really want to follow Highway 10 in to 694 and 494? No. We'll stay back on track here once we catch up with it again, and then we'll fly over to Make Minnetonka and Flying Cloud Airport, and we'll have some more story time as time goes on. So enjoy the sightseeing down Highway 10 for a while, totally VFR style, and I'll see you probably when we get over Lake Minnetonka. See you in another 45 minutes or so. Jeez Louise, this is going to be 5 hours. This is ridiculous. Okay, we have entered the very northwestern region of the Minneapolis area, metro area, Minneapolis-St. Paul metro area. If you look at the map, we are on the very northwestern corner. The interstates are right over there. 94 is going to join 694 and 494. 694 will head east and 494 will head south, and there's Lake Minnetonka. And 394 will come across, actually it's US 12, then it's 394, and I used to work at the intersection of 394 and 494. That's where my current career got started, all by accident, because isn't that how things work anyway. So you can see some buildings and stuff, because there's civilization here. Minneapolis is interesting because it's growing, and it's fairly good. It's a good sized city, especially when you combine it with St. Paul, but it gets rural very quickly. So like you have Minneapolis, it's urban, first ring suburbs, second ring suburbs, and then suburbia, and then boom, rural. So this is right where it gets to be suburban to rural, as you can tell by the houses down there, all spread out. But you go in a few miles, and then it's suburban, and then a few more miles, and it's urban. And then you get pockets like this that have some stuff in them. But otherwise, this is right on the border of suburban and ex-urban or rural. So there's Lake Minnetonka, which is actually just a whole bunch of bays. There's no like meaty lake part. It's just a bunch of bays, hundreds, if not, well, thousands of boats at any given time, really. And super, super wealthy area. So if you look, this highway here is 12 turning into 394, and right on that corner, I used to work there. I wonder if those towers are represented. Oh gosh, it would add so much time to fly over there, wouldn't it? Let me see. Would it add a bunch of time? Yeah, we'd have to come down here, then come down south. No, we'd re-intersect. Let's do it. Let's see if the towers are there where I used to work, where I started my new career by accident. This only, I mean, this is already going to be like a 5.5 hour flight or something. Well, we'll see at the end what's recorded, but let's just go that way. And this is Flying Cloud Airport right there, which I've never been to in real life. But all right, let's just go through here and see if my former employer is in the buildings. I want to see what the buildings look like. So there is 12, which is was a very, very, very dangerous road, because it was one lane in each direction and curvy, and so many people would text and stuff that on these two curves would be almost weekly, if not, well, monthly for sure, if not weekly accidents. And the only reason why is because the road would curve and people would be texting and they get in head-on collisions. It was always texting and always on these two curves. So what they did is they put this cement, they closed the road entirely, just closed it down for a year, I think. And they put up cement barrier all along the road. Just because, because people would text and run into each other on these two curves. So it's frustrating they had to do that, because it wasn't like the road was dangerous. It's just the drivers are dangerous. But, of course I believe in safety, but I just wish people were... Yep, the towers are there. There they are. Awesome. I wonder what they look like, though. It's just frustrating that people act like that. But again, again, it's a cultural thing, right? In the city, if you are texting and driving, people are going to honk at you, yell at you, flick you off, tell you put your phone down, blah, blah, blah. But out here in these rural areas, if your best friend is texting and you say, please don't text, they just won't ever talk to you again. Like, seriously. Like, I had a coworker, too, that was like, oh, anybody can text and drive if you're smart about it. I'm like, well, if you're smart about it, you wouldn't do it in the first place, So anyway, that's Highway 12. Alrighty, so this is Excelsior, Minnetonka. I used to teach piano out in this area. All these roads go through. It takes an hour or more to drive through this area. Easy. Super heavy traffic all the time. Alright, yes, I'm excited to see what these buildings actually look like. I won't tell you what I did there or anything, or which company I worked for there, because it's multi-tenant. I just want to see what they look like. Ooh, and Minneapolis just popped in. Nice. So we'll take this and then we'll follow 494 south. We're not going to go into Minneapolis. We've done that a bunch of times. But since we're here, right? Didn't I say that earlier? Like 7 hours ago? Since we're here, we might as well stop and take a look. It's only going to add half an hour to our super long trip. Alright, I'm trying to come down in altitude a little bit, yet maintain speed. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. Again, I'm sure this doesn't matter to pretty much any of you, but it's exciting. And I like when other people give tours of their areas. People have no idea what they're talking about. Oh yeah. This was all, I remember when this was new. I remember when they built that. It used to come through here. And then they built this, and one of these is a cycling bridge. Can't remember which one. And it's so high up. And they dug the road down below grade, so it's pretty crazy. Alright. Where did I live for 40 hours a week in my life? Let's see if it shows up. Oh yeah, those buildings actually look like they do. And to top it off, I had one of those like RC helicopter things before drones were a thing, you know, quadcopters. And I actually flew it in this big field here, and I used to get as high as the building. I have videos on, well, it's my family YouTube, you'll never find it, but I have a bunch of videos of this helicopter I used to have, put a little camera on it, in 1080p I think even back then. I would fly it up above these towers. It was awesome. You can see over the tower all the way downtown. Alrighty, ground level is 8,800 some feet, 900 feet, so let's not get too low to the ground here. Put the throttle back in so we stop descending. Yeah, there we go. The Carlson Towers, if you are familiar, there's 701, 601, 401, and 301. There was supposed to be an 801 in a hotel. It was going to live across the street here, which was supposed to be for people who came in for business, would stay there as a hotel, but it never turned out to be, so they made an apartment. I never did live there. But there we go. Wow, that's exactly what they look like. That's crazy how the satellite imagery and the helicopter imagery or airplane imagery and the sim can put all this together, because this is exactly what these buildings look like. All of them look exactly, and there's a parking ramp. Holy cow, and that's the field I used to fly the helicopter in. I cannot believe, oh, there are apartments here now though. That's old imagery. They needed money or something, so they, took that island on that man-made pond and made into an apartment complex, which I haven't seen because that's since I used to work there, but alright, let's head down 494, which is actually a beautiful drive, believe it or not. It's really well kept up in the greenery. It's really a gorgeous drive. North of here, though, it gets really, really dangerous because they built it over a swamp, so the road freezes from underneath, and it's really dangerous in the winter. Those of us who know better avoid it. Alrighty, yeah, this is a gorgeous drive. I used to drive this from those buildings all the way down here to teach piano. I had 2 full-time careers before I had children. I made bank, but boy did it kill me. Leave at 6 in the morning, get home at 10 at night, every single day. And then weekends I'd perform. Oh my gosh, it was horrible. It was grueling. But as a professional musician, that's what you do to make the bucks, right? Alrighty, let's head down 494. KMSP is right out here. You're not going to be able to see it. Oh, maybe you can make it out from here. I don't know. Let's get some altitude, because I noticed when I was flying lower earlier, I really had problems. With turbulence. Alrighty, what is our altitude? 14 and climbing. Alright, we're going to take this until we rejoin our trek, and then we'll head down towards Faribault for the final portion of this extremely long trip. I'm going to have to actually hang it up here and pause it overnight and go to bed and come back the next day, I think. I'll see if I'll check the time and reset the time if I have to do that. Well, maybe I'll finish it tonight, we'll see. But anyway, sightseeing, I'm going to shut up and I'll see you. Are there any points of interest between here and Faribault? Nope. Nothing that I can think of, so I'll tell you my Faribault story when we get closer to Faribault. For now, I'm just going to fight this turbulence, give some sightseeing, and regain my composure in the aircraft. I'll talk in a little bit. And just like that, it's time to prepare for landing here. I am already radioed to Faribault just to see how close we were. We're 21 miles less announced position again together. It's only like 19, yeah. And we're going to use runway 19 because that's pretty much the direction we're facing. I'm still climbing a little bit because of the turbulence, but we're pretty darn close. We're back on track here, so let's turn left. And we'll, yeah, we're just going to fly like straight in pretty much. It's going to show us what we want. Actually, maybe we want a, what? Maybe we want a different runway. Because that's going to be, what are we doing here? That's going to be, maybe I'd pick a grass runway. Oh boy, let's back up a second here. Let's see what our runway options are, and maybe we should do another one. Let's select a runway for landing. 12, maybe we want 12. Because, yeah, let's do 12. I think that's what we're looking at. Actually, why don't I look up the airport in real life and see what runway we want? And let's stop descending, please. I want to keep this altitude because of the turbulence. Yeah, we want runway 12. The other one is grass. So let's do runway 12. Announce position. We have a change here.
Foxtrot Bravo Lima traffic Turtle Slope Tango Sierra 410516 miles north.
And let's stop ascending. Let's start descending. So very quickly, since 12, like 12 miles is like right there or something. What did I say? 12 miles? 16 miles. Faribault. So I was on federal jury duty way long time ago, and it was really interesting, especially because it was federal, so people actually had to drive in from hours and hours away and stay in hotels and everything. It wasn't local, it was federal. And it was interesting. There's first case, I can talk about it now, but I'm not going to, but it was a case, the largest of its kind in Minnesota, and it was kind of easy because everybody involved pleaded guilty except this one kid who was 19. And there's video of him doing what he did, and it was super obvious he was in charge of it all, blah, blah, blah. He said he didn't know, but he was clearly in charge. But what I found interesting, and everybody thinks a jury duty is, do you find them guilty or not? But it's not so much as if you find them guilty as you just make sure the rules are being followed. Evidence and everything in what is expected to happen is all done, and I was a paralegal for a while, so I know this anyway, but it was all done. Excuse me, my voice is cracking. It was all that stuff is done long before it even gets to trial. So in jury duty, you're just pretty much making sure the rules are followed, and that was really, really fascinating. And that's one reason I went to paralegal school, though I didn't finish because I had other things in life that were more pressing and more interesting. But it was fascinating. Federal jury duty was absolutely fascinating. I met some super amazing and awesome people, and had things like texting existed back then and Facebook and all that stuff, I would surely still be in contact with them today. In fact, it was kind of not sad, but the timing was interesting because the whole group, there was supposed to be this, they came up with this impromptu dinner and hang out after the last day of jury duty, because it was emotionally upsetting for some of them and some of us. And so there was, on the way out the door, they're like, hey, let's do this thing, let's go here, blah, blah, blah. And everyone's like, yeah, I'm in. Except these two old people had like a 9-hour drive to get where they lived. But I'm like, oh, I have a blind date, like right now, a couple blocks from here. Because what I did is I planned a blind date, because I was starting to date again. I had planned a blind date to meet right after jury duty, because it was strict hours, right? So I knew when I'd be done, I knew where I'd be and another thing, but I wouldn't cancel anyway. But I was kind of bummed because the date was absolutely horrible, and I much rather would have hung out with these people for one more day. But anyway, jury duty, people want to get out of jury duty, but don't do jury duty. It is really interesting. It is fascinating. There's airport right there, I believe. It is just really, really cool, especially the federal thing. Oh my gosh, it was so neat. I think that's her. I know it's a long final. I probably called it early, but I don't exactly know if that's her runway or not. I just don't want to. Oh, no, there it is. Yeah, right there. Boom. Nice. Very long final. Good. So it was just absolutely wonderful, absolutely fascinating. Would I do it again? Yeah, I would, but it would be a lot more work because I've got 3 people in my family who depend on me quite heavily for reasons I won't go into. And employers, you get paid what, $20 a day or $15 a day or something if your employer doesn't cover it. And I don't know if my employer covers it or not, but it was fascinating. It was amazing, just amazing. I was so excited to be chosen. It was a pretty cut and dry case, although we did have somebody with who just felt badly for the kid, even though he clearly did what he did, which affected potentially thousands of younger people. And so I don't know why she felt badly for him. Maybe she felt believe in second chances, which was fine, but he'll get a second chance when he got out of prison. He'd be out now. This was, how long ago was this? 18 years ago or something. But yeah, my favorite part of the trial, which I can tell you, was they did the character witness thing, right? And the parents were like, he's such a good boy, he's dumb, but that's okay, he's so great, blah, blah, blah. And then they get his sister up there, and she's like, he's the biggest idiot. This isn't the only stupid thing he's done. He gets away with it. Just lock him up. He's awful. And that was his character witness as his sister. It was very interesting. And then they brought in an interpreter for somebody who couldn't speak the language of the person they were interpreting for. So that was interesting. And the lawyer for the prosecutor's side, because it was such an easy case, she was very young, just out of law school. It's her first case. And the defense attorney was a complete nut job. Every time the prosecuting attorney would object, he would be like, I don't know what objection she called out. And the judge would be like, are you kidding? Because that's the most common objection I hear in my courtroom. And then they had to look up all these things to read to the defense attorney. It was so fascinating. The judge was known to be one of the hardest judges in the district, federal district or whatever. He's since retired. My great aunt had actually was really good friends with him, which I didn't know that until I said I was on jury duty, and here's the judge. She's like, oh, so I hang out with, I used to hang out with them all the time. I'm like, oh. So just really interesting, super cool. But it was the biggest case of this thing that happened in Faribault, which affected the whole country. It wasn't just like a small town thing. It's just this is where the operations were. It was really interesting. So here you go. Let's announce final appropriately now. And yes, I know this is a very long video. Yes, I know there's tons more story time than even normal, but it was fun for me. It was like therapeutic for me to tell all those stories. So those of you who skipped around, I don't blame you. You come from my chair here. Those of you who skipped around, I don't blame you. Those of you who listen to everything, thank you. I'm flattered. If you know of any more YouTube channels that do things like this, that talk a lot, let me know. There aren't many, but I know people enjoy it. So here we go. Let's do gear down now, so I don't forget, because that would be a huge bummer, huh? If I forgot about gear. We don't need a water runner, obviously. The lights are how they're supposed to be. I did not see the achievement pop up in flight, so hopefully when we land, it pops up. If not, we'll go check the achievement page. If it doesn't pop up there, we'll restart the sim, because sometimes you have to restart the sim. But I had so much fun during this amazingly long flight that I forgot I was actually doing it for the achievement. So that's good, right? Hopefully it pops up. I don't want to do this again, though. As much fun as it was, I don't want to do it again. And then we'll check the achievement page, and I'll show you that I've done all the achievements now, except the crazy ones that'll just happen over time. So here we go. Let's start slowing down, coming in for our long final. Yay. Looks like we have a crosswind. Should be from the left. Wind is from 270. Oh, there's like no wind because I have custom weather, but there's be a slight tailwind from the left. So we'll see how this plays out. The turbulence is down. Gears down. I'll do flaps in just a moment here. And then we will land. I'm curious how long this really took. I lost track of time. I had to stop a few times in there, so I don't know how long it took, but we'll see what it registers at. I don't think it was 5 hours. I think I was going much faster than they intended. I really was pushing this thing beyond its limits here. Oh boy, is my yoke thing going to do the weird thing? So let's slam the throttle, and that helps me. There we go, now I have control of my yoke. I don't know, happened in X-Plane too, so it's a Windows thing or something. Okay, we're coming in fast, we're coming in high. I don't know why, because I'm excited to get down. Second set of flaps, right? There we go. Oh gosh, we're coming in really fast. That's okay, let's just get down and bleed it out. There we go, let's just get down and bleed it out. Bleed off the speed. Don't want to come too fast, we'll bounce. There we go. There we go. Okay, here we go. Ground effects. Ready? Already ground effects? Where are my ground effects? Not feeling them. There they are. Alright, let go. There we go. Boom. Smooth as silk. We're even centered. Look at that. Slam on the brakes. Will we make this taxiway? I think we will. There it is. Jack of all planes achievement just popped up. Oh my gosh. That is so much work. Like I said at the beginning of the video, people who did it right away just let your AI Copilot do it. But then they broke the AI Copilot. So, it didn't, you can't do it that way anymore. You actually have to fly every single one of these flights yourself. And with the non-autopilot ones, it gets pretty exhausting. There were at least 6, maybe 7, or even 8 that you had to fly by hand. So that's a lot. But it was worth it. Oh, how exciting is this? Oh my gosh, let's park this thing anywhere. And then we're going to go out to the achievement page. And I will show you that I've done all the achievements. Except the crazy ones. So here we go. Let's get this thing put away. We're just going to go over there where the other GA aircraft is parked. And we do have the taxi ribbon on, but it doesn't do anything when you're, you know, untowered. We are going to keep it on, I think, because I've kind of been enjoying knowing where to go. Unless there's a place we want to park on purpose, but I just wish they would make it look nicer. Alrighty, here we go. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I can't believe it. Oh, so much work. So many hours. That's like 3 hours times 20, right? So 60 hours or more of flying. Hey, we even have our lightsaber person, I think. I think that's them. I think so. Where's that? Yes. Yes, we even get a lightsaber person to help us park. How exciting is this? Here we go. Let's slow down and not run them over. Let's not run them over. Come on. Come on, here we go. Let's do it. I'm gonna remember the gear, thankfully. You're not for me. You're not for me. Okay, fine. Whatever. Let's come down here. Let's turn a few things off. And hang this up. And there it is. What does it say? 2 hours 55 minutes. That's not right. Because it was at least 3.5 in real life. Oh, that's weird. Anyway, let's go to the achievement page and show you I've done them all. Here we go. Alright, as you scroll down the achievement page, we've done all the activities, the bush trips. Well, there's one more bush trip, but there are 3 originals. We'll do the other one in a little bit, but we've done all the activities, and go down here, look at the, whoops, don't want to add it to my screen. All of them 100% all the way down, except the super crazy ones, which would be 1,000 hours of flight, which will just happen over time. 500 hours of flight, it'll happen over time. Landing at 500 airports, it'll happen over time since we always do a different airport. And then there's one more, it's the decathon. Here we go. This one we can't even do until they offer the 10 activities. I've done 4 activities. I can't even do that one until they offer more. And by activities, it's that weekly thing in the top right cell when you start the sim. So I have no control over these other than just fly for time and wait until they give me more things to activity and to participate in. So there you go. All the achievements done. We're just going to fly regular flights now, full immersion, IFR for some of them, VFR for some of them, random places. If you have a place you want me to go, tell me in the comments below and I'll definitely fly there. Otherwise, hopefully you enjoyed it. I certainly did. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let everybody know we're here, and I'll see you next time.